Welcome everyone. Today we have another new episode, and we have our famous speaker, Mr. Tom Rose. I'm sure that from World Talent Economy Forums, everybody like Mr. Tom Rose. And then recently, World Talent Economy Forums, we do joins in India with ASSOCHAM associations with Honorable Prime Minister of India. He joined these associations, as well as Tata also, or Mr. Ratan Tata get award for these things. Even from Indian community, all of the corporation, they also asked me about this World Talent Economy Forum, and especially Tom Rose and his AI. This is really interesting. We are trying to collaborating as much as possible. Our target is reaching 100 million people in between 2021. And TAF doing fantastic job in Africa. Even they are actually collaborating with universities, local ecosystem. They are taking a lot of initiative. So for the global collaboration perspective, Mr. Tom Rose, Mr. Brent Elman will discuss, as well as we have Mr. Pavel. He's from MIT. He is actually guiding us and help us for World Talent Economy Forums with his experience and many more things. So TAF and Transhumanist, they are really, really good, doing good jobs, and they become every day. I'm getting at least few response from different universities and the youth community. They love to know more about Transhumanist, as well as they love to join in TAF. So I want to start with Mr. Tom, and we want to know more. What will be his next 1 year plan, and how you want to collaborate around the world?
Yeah, well, thanks for having us again. And USTP, United States Transhumanist Party, and TAFs are allied organizations, and I'm a member of both. And so it's great to get everybody together, and we really appreciate everything you're doing to spread our word and our message. And with TAFs, as you know, a couple weeks ago, we launched our annual magazine, which was a great success. It's 30 plus articles by experts in transdisciplinary areas, and with a COVID kind of focus in this issue for obvious reasons. And so it was a great example of what we're trying to do, this magazine, because it does bring in experts from different fields, and it gets very detailed, very scientific papers, and there's also a lot of art and poetry and photography in it. And so it's just a great example of what we're trying to do with TAFs. And so for 2021, this has been our focus in the last 6 months since I came on. The idea was to give us some breathing room to really sit back and realize where our strengths are and where our challenges are. And now we have a really good handle on what it is we can offer our members. And so our next phase of our strategy is to really build up our directory, and we're working on that very hard right now. This will be a very sophisticated, state-of-the-art type of directory, and members who are listed on this directory will have to meet certain criteria in order to be listed, because that's really going to be our primary asset. Is that if you're listed on the TAFs directory, that means that you've met criteria that you need to be listened to, that you should be taken very seriously. And so that's a very important part of this whole process for us. And so that's what we're focusing on right now. We're really building the infrastructure, and we've got really great plans for this and for members. And so in 2021, we will really be battening down our hatches and launching in a very real way in the next month or so. We'll be coming out with some really exciting announcements. And along with that, we're continuing our assets. We've got the magazine, we've got the journal, which comes out periodically. That there's a constant call for papers and ideas for that. We've got our conferences, which obviously went online in the last year, but we're talking about the next one, which will be really exciting. And I think we'll be focusing it in South Africa, which is a lot of our operational work right now is using South Africa as our building up our model, figuring out what it is how we're going to be doing this stuff. So we've got a very strong organization in South Africa right now, with making some great partnerships with some serious organizations there, focusing on the fourth industrial revolution in Africa. And so it's just exciting. We've got a lot of ideas for curricula, for partnerships with universities and educational organizations. and with you, with World Talent Economic Forum, and we're just excited about what's going to be happening. It's really kind of blossoming in a very positive way, and so it's been a great 6 months of kind of an incubation period, a gestation period, and now we really know what we're doing, and we're ready to really emerge on the scene.
Excellent, excellent. I have specific questions to Mr. Pavel, as you are General Secretary for Transhumanist Party. Like when like our World Talent Economy Forums actually strongly collaborate with many countries and governments and officials, as well as we try to find out the problem and give them some sort of solutions. Even we find that many actually youth people right now, they are very interested about Transhumanist Party. You come up with a different concept. It's attack youth community. You come up with the different political views. I do not know how it create impact in USA, but in outside USA, I think it has very great impact, especially youth as well as think tanks and the global scientific persons and many more people. They are very interested about the new norms of politics. So how do you want to share more details about Transhumanist Party?
Well, the beauty of Transhumanist Party is that you can be member of the party even if you not reside in US. Like anyone on Earth or even outside the Earth can sign up and be a member of Transhumanist Party, and its membership is free. And the great thing that you not only be a member, you also have a right to vote on our internal elections, or like for example now we have a vote on a reform platform, and everyone in the world have a right to contribute their input and vote on it. So this is why USTP is so different from other parties and other organizations in the US, and that's why we so open to world, and we're open to the collaboration with the with World Economic Forum, with TAFs, with any organization, with any people from in any country. Because the problems we trying to tackle, we face them, it's not limited. It's not stop at US border. It's global problem. It's existential problem, like stuff like aging, stuff like existential risks. We cannot solve it by ourselves. We can solve it only collectively in collaboration with everyone in the world. So I hope this has answered your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Bretelman, you are doing hard work for TAF. Even we are sharing all of our content from World Talent Economic Forum. I just want to share one experience, like from Himalaya, Nepal. We have a very strong team. They do not have a very good internet connections, but regularly we share our content with this team. They are actually developing sustainable ecosystem, and they are very much impressed about the initiative of TAF. And this kind of remote area people, for example, those who do not have enough internet connections, even they are trying to solve the problem. Even I know that many highly educated group of peoples, like in Himalayas and this area, they live and they are trying to solve problem. How actually TAF, even they are really interested about the initiative of TAF, how actually TAF can help this kind of community in remote area. I do not want to say about the main extreme people. There are many people even in Ireland and many places, even in Malaysia, Indonesia, even in what I'm talking about Himalaya. Many people actually observing our World Talent Economy Forum shows and how you are working. This is really impressive. So is there any opportunity in the future that you can join in Asia Pacific and serve these communities and help them to grow their ecosystem?
Hey, Sharif, good morning. Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely some ways that we're going to be expanding towards certain areas in the Southeastern Asia and South Pacific. But right now, one of the big things that we're working on that will benefit people that are in these rural areas and they're kind of far away from cities and stuff, islands and things like that. We're working on a variety of educational programs. So Anita, who was on the show with you one time, she's actually working on some preparing some things so that we can start offering some educational programs to people in Australia, people that are really in, far from civilization. And we're working on as well on some educational programs that are going to be offered to some people in Africa. But really in this digital world, these certain educational programs, they really benefit the people who are in these rural areas on these islands and things like that the most. As this whole Starlink situation starts unraveling in the rest of the world, we're really going to see connectivity increase in these places. And when these people have the ability to sign onto the internet and log on and join us, we will be offering them programs where they can go and they can learn, they can seek accreditations from certain programs that we'll be offering, and we'll really just be helping people with that. There'll be other options as well. We've talked about doing summits with you out there and teaming up on a variety of projects. Where we've been discussing, some partnership projects on some things out there, as you know. And so it's really diverse, but I think that right now the thing that's really the next thing that's going to come out is these educational programs, and I really think that these will be majorly beneficial for folks that are in these rural areas.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. Like you are very hardworking, very dedicated, and very focused with your work, especially TAF initiative and this kind of things. And that's why our expectation is very high about TAF and their activities. This is the fact, and I'm sure many people actually love your initiative, love all of your teamworks and how you're contributing. My question is that do you have any plan for the COVID-19 example, for COVID initiative? Even we are concerned, like developing nations, many people they will not get vaccine in on time. So as you are working in Africa, what's the situation in Africa? From TAF, do you have any initiative with the vaccine and this kind of things or anything?
Well, in our magazine, we touch on that issue a lot from a lot of different transdisciplinary areas. COVID and how it's affecting families and the science of it. We get really detailed into that. As far as initiatives, what we really focus on doing is, what is that? Are we being attacked? Strange. Anyway, but what we focus on is really building platforms for these ideas to come out. Whether it's the magazine, the journal, the conferences, our whole infrastructure is about giving people with these ideas a platform to be heard. And so that's exactly what we did with the magazine. There's a lot of articles about COVID and a post-COVID society and the science of it. And so what we really focus on is giving these people recognition. We've got we nominated a few COVID heroes, people that have made great advancements in this pandemic. Hopefully we won't have to have that category next year. But so yeah, we are all about real-time urgent issues. And next year, I'm sure it'll probably be something new. But right now it's all about COVID. And so we are very focused on that because that's really what we do. What we do is offer platforms for people that have solutions. And that's just like, that's where we tie in with the USTP. As Pavel said, it's all about addressing existential threats on a global scale. It's not going to be one country that can handle this. We all got ourselves into this. So we are providing platforms for people to bring their ideas, their species-saving concepts to the fore. UST develops policies to actually work towards making them laws in some way and organizing people in a very serious way. And so all of these organizations and you are all converging together in a very positive way. And so when it comes to COVID with TAFs, yes, we are offering really brilliant minds a platform to be heard.
Mr. Brentelman, like you are actively involved with TAF for their like collaborations and international partnerships and many more things. So like if from the Malaysian different universities and think tanks and Singapore's and they want to make collaborations with TAF, what's the way? How do you want to share the process with our audience?
Sure. Right now, we're mainly focused on teaming up with individuals, but we're very open, as you know, as you're very well aware, to teaming up with organizations and groups with similar ideas and similar goals. And I mean, essentially at this point, you can reach out to most of us, and you know, the contact will be disseminated through our organization. But anyone's welcome to reach out to myself or Tom if they've got organizations that are interested in any efforts. As you know, Sharif, you know, we've been discussing some certain things that I'm not really disclosed too deeply, but yeah, I mean, we're very open and we're capable of doing many different things, and we'd love to have conversations, but right now we are really focusing on empowering these individuals, you know, and as you know, we're really focused on Africa. They say if you want to catch a rabbit, you go for one rabbit. If you try to catch two rabbits, you'll probably not catch either of them. And so right now, TAPS is kind of focusing on catching this one rabbit of building this directory. And don't get me wrong, we've got some tertiary projects and such as well that we're working on, but that's definitely our biggest focus at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Pavel, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For your organization, especially like Transhumanist Party, like what the initiative you are taking, especially we saw that you have many scientific journals and your party chairman, Mr. Ganidi, also published different kind of articles, and already our World Talent Economy forums, our audience also know about that. Besides that, do you take any kind of initiative for research developments or research and innovation related things for developing nations or something like that in futures? Is there any possibilities, because you have a lot of scientists, different kind of engineers and different kind of good ecosystem which may be very much important for developing nations, especially for healthcare system, for energy system, for the smart city development and this kind of things? Is there any plan Transhumanist Party has, or how it works?
Yeah, one of the initiatives we took in now, it's we developing the framework for implementation of UBI, and we trying to like develop a scientific foundation for the scientific and technological foundation for implementation of UBI. UBI is universal basic income, and I believe when we develop this for US, we can expand it to the developing world.
Okay, thank you. There are one specific questions I want to take from audience, and I want to ask these questions to Mr. Tom. Question for Tom about TAF certification program. Do you certify both business and individuals? Do you certify the US also, or only in Africa?
No, everywhere,
Mr.
really.
Jason, ask you this question.
Yeah, no, we do bring in organizations, companies, and individuals, and we'll have a special category for students, and so yes, we that's the whole idea, is to certify primarily young people, individuals, but we are also bringing in companies, organizations, and to be certified. So, and yeah, it's not just in Africa either; it's all over the place. We're starting in Africa, and we will migrate out, just as we did originally. And so we got to, like Brent was saying, this is the one rabbit we're focusing on right now. We're cutting our teeth with the model that we're developing with South Africa, and it'll change every region we go into. Even in the continent of Africa, every country we go into, we're going to have different challenges, different governmental organizations we've got to take into account, different associations we need to partner with. And so, it's not a cookie cutter approach. And so that's what we're trying to do, is really be agile enough to go into different regions and adjust to primarily focusing on what the member in that region needs. And so, yeah, we are starting in Africa, and we're getting our sea legs there, if you will. But we are open to, just like the USTP, open to members from all over the world, because it's going to take Earthlings to solve Earth things. And so that's what we're all about. And so we are, although we're starting and we're getting our organization set in Africa, we are open to members from everywhere, and we will address whatever comes through.
Thank you. Mr. Brentelman, as you are youth, unemployment is the biggest problem right now. I'm sure Africa also has same problem, specifically unemployment, especially in COVID-19 situations. From TEF, is there any initiative? Same question I want to ask as Mr. Pavel, that he also working with UBI, Universal Basic Income, how it creates some impact in the economy. So I want to start with Mr. Brentelman.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're really trying to empower these, businesses, entrepreneurs, and things like that, so that these folks will be capable of supporting themselves financially in this economy in the future. By the idea is that through this badge we can create this economy of its own, and people can interact with one another, and that's really where we're going. Universal basic income is definitely an idea that we appreciate at TAPS, or at least I appreciate. For the most recent TAPS magazine, I just wrote an article about universal basic income as well. So we are on board with certain initiatives like that, working alongside the U.S. Transhumanist Party with some of these things, and that's really where we stand at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Pavel.
Yeah, the beauty of UBI is that it can give people time to first realize who they are and what they want to do with this life. And when you have this realization, when you know what you want to do and who you are, you can you can go and study whatever you want to study. And then when you gain this technology, gain this knowledge and skill set, you can take risks and start your own ventures. And by doing that, you will grow the local economies. You will grow economies within local communities and diversify this economy. The main thing, it's time. And right now, even when people unemployed, they kind of have time, but they don't have this time without severe stress. They live in a survival mode, and you can't really learn new things. You can't really learn new math concepts. You can't learn any complex things while you're in survival mode. So UBI should allow people escape the survival mode and go onto the development path, go into learning and advancing new technology path.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a vital period, and it's something we really need to be doing with AI automation. We are in this lacuna of time where we need to kind of redesign our whole economy, how we spend our time, and so it's a vital thing that we should be taking up, not just in America but globally, because we really need to find our legs. We need to create a whole new economy based on our uniquely human skill sets, now that AI and automation is taking over all the menial tasks. And so I think it's very important, and we should take it very seriously and do what we can to make it happen as soon as possible.
One specific thing, I think this is very much important. Onika Shams, she asked you, Happy Christmas to all. Why is collaboration necessary in 21st century? Thank you, because I think she is from Malaysia. So yes, Mr. Tom.
Well, I would say it's even more so than collaboration right now. I talk about coalescence. We need to coalesce. And the difference being is, like, a team that comes together that collaborates can be pulled apart after the project. They can go back to their places. But coalescence is more like a stream that flows into a lake. You can't really pull the water apart. We really need to focus on that, because we need to come together to solve problems, but we also need to stay together. So that's a big part of my work, is coalescing teams and keeping them together through different methods. And so I like to talk more about global coalescence because, when collaboration could be the temporary thing, and we could come together and work on certain projects, but then there are still those elements that pull us apart afterwards or separate us. And so it's really about, for me, it's about the theory, the model of coalescence. And so I think more so when you come together to work out a problem, whatever it is, whether it's an existential threat or some community issue, there's all ways to collaborate, but the real value in coming together to solve a problem is the team coalescing, so that when the next problem comes, you already have those things worked out. You don't need to re-collaborate. So that's a very important element or principle that I work with. And so it's obviously it's very vital right now. It's always been vital, more so now because the threats that we're facing are existential. They threaten our planet. They threaten our species. We are right now destroying 150 to 200 species per day because of our ravenous appetite for resources and these things. So and that's only going to be increasing exponentially. So I really believe that, sure, we need to collaborate. We need to come together. We need to figure out ways to bring different groups and countries together. But more so, we need to really focus on this model of coalescence to bring people together so that they stay together. And we can do that through exercises of empathy, or depending on what it is we're working on. So it's vitally important right now. Things like the UBI is extremely important right now. We need to give ourselves some breathing room as a species to figure out how to survive economically. Just as Pavel was saying, it's about, you don't really think about these things when you're in survival mode. You can't really collaborate or coalesce with anybody when you're, worried about, how to feed your kids or how to shelter your kids. And so we need some breathing room, and it needs to be an urgent thing. But while we're doing that, while we're in this phase of having this breathing room, we also need to focus on this model of coalescing organizations and people. And that's what I love about this. I'm picking it up on it a lot today. There's so many parallels between the USTP and what TAFs are doing. And because of CEO of TAFs and being an officer in USTP, I am seeing these parallel things that we're going through. We're wanting to increase membership, and there's a lot of parallels here. And that's why it's so great to have the two organizations as allied organizations, because we really can coalesce and feed off of each other's progress. And so as far as for the 21st century, global coalescence is key to our own survival, individually and as a species.
Thank you.
Yeah, in addition to what Tom said, that I think many problems which we have to collaborate, solve, come from othering, that we divide ourselves on we and them. And so to prevent this problem to occur, we need to overcome this othering. We need to create a larger concept of we, in which everyone, like literally every single person, every single sentient being is included. So that way we can solve many problems on its roots. And through collaboration, through global collaboration, we can overcome othering. We can create this concept of we. Through collaboration, we will engage in dialogue with other cultures, with other people from all around, and through that process, I think we will able to overcome these boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Brentelman. And we have our new friend, Mr. Oshnakachi. Okay, Mr. Oshnakachi, what do you want to add for today's session, especially when TAF doing global collaborations? And I'm sure many of the people and organizations, they are interested to collaborate with TAF from the global community, especially from Asia Pacific. So how it works? What's your advice for them?
Okay, Rens, thank you so much for the Sharif, thank you so much for inviting us. I'm always used to Brent's name, okay, as a senior officer. So happy Christmas to all of us. Thank you, Mr. President, for always coming on board to talk about issues like this. So, Father, thank you for joining us today. When it comes to collaboration, it is something that is ontic to becoming as an organization. It is part of us. When you say transdisciplinary, it means uh, something that is encompassing. It means that we cannot do it alone. It means that we need the order. And the order there is not just microscopic, it is also macro and micro, as the case may be. So we need people who understands the philosophy of I cannot do it alone to join us in the actualization of our vision and dream as an organization. So it is not a clarion call for just staffs. It is something that is in our being. Now, as social being, it means that there is something that is lacking in you that you need order to fulfill. So collaboration is something that is part of our existence. So now, if we want to strengthen this thing, it means that there is something that we've observed, that this sense of personalism. When I started TAFs, I said there is this thing that people always say, oh, you need to understand biology for you to know how human beings behave. So people, when there is this always subject-based supremacy, people try astrophysics, trying to push theirs, and biology, physics, and everything, the philosophers they want to push. So you see, people, the understanding of reality was more encompassing when everything was, studied on that philosophy. People want to have basic knowledge of everything. Now, before Andronicus of Rhodes started systematizing learning and everything. So now, collaboration is something that we need as PC. And when I saw, I was following via Facebook before I said, okay, I need to join this discussion to see my little contribution. And I followed through so many things that have been shown. I've looked at questions, people talking about, asking questions about whether we only classify persons and organizations in Africa. And no, that's not it. It's not only about Africa. It's all about, if you look at TAOS, it's a global organization. So we are concerned about everyone. And one of the six strategy of our CEO and president is to position TAOS as the gateway in and out of Africa. Didn't say as a gateway out of Africa. When you say in and out of Africa, it means that there are countries, organizations, individuals that want to understand verified organizations, that want to know verified organization and verified person they can deal with. So because there is this bias that we have, it's not only for Africans. Africans also have this bias for Americans, and Americans have this bias. I was discussing with Chief Marketing Officer. He was explaining these things to me, and he said, in as much as we are trying to make this position, we should make it as feasible as possible for those who we are dealing with. So that is it. So you understand also this sense of bias. You understand how people perceive the other. So we need to also remove a sense of this bias. We should also have this sense of trust, mutual trust, and we have this sense of openness to the other for us to have effective and efficient collaboration. So there is always a problem when there is sentiment or bias or little mistrust during collaboration. When you have this sense of openness, you understand you give the other a better long road to showcase what he or she is capable of doing. So collaboration is not only signing contract. I love the definition how our CEO tried to explain this thing. he talked about co-learning, because learning is a process. It is something that when you learn, at the end, now collaboration becomes the end. So learning becomes the means for collaboration. So you understand each other better. So understanding now, because when he say co-learning, it means placing education as at the forefront of collaboration, and it helps you to understand the other very well, for you to remove all forms of bias, so that everything will move as planned. So thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Brent Hellman. So there are one specific questions I want to take from the audience for you. Like, what are the outcomes of collaboration in the perception of underprivileged country? So how do you want to give the answer for these questions? Mr.
The
Brent.
outcomes of collaboration and the perception of. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm having
Yes.
a little bit of connectivity issues. But so yeah, the outcomes of collaboration in the perception of an underprivileged country, the way that I see that is that you see we're able to transcend these issues that are very local by using this global solution. And so you have you have these folks in these developing nations that have these issues that are very pressing. And then you have people in these other places who have resolved these types of issues. And I think that the result in this type of collaborative effort would be overcoming these issues, finding the best ways to overcome such issues. And then I think it goes both ways as well, because then when you have these developed nations, you have these little nuances, these differences in culture and differences in climate and environment, and you've learned new ways to solve old problems as well. And so I think that, to answer a new question with that point, is that, there are really some great results from the perception of the developing world as well as the developed world when these collaborative efforts are sought after.
Thank you, Mr. Tom. I want to take one question from audience for you. Alea, wishing all of you a delightful Christmas. What are the sector did the collaboration happen? Thanks. This is for Mr. Tom. And beside that, I want to know that before you join with your AI and AI related developments. So even you are taking initiative and you are developing curriculum for developing nation youth. So if you share this point with our youth community, I think it will be very helpful for our audience.
Can you repeat the question?
My question is, first question, what are the sector did the collaboration happen? This is number one from Alea. And number two, from my side, my question is that how your AI like curriculums going on, then how you can offer your AI related curriculum for the developing nations, students and youth and underprivileged youth community.
Yeah, well, I think as far as sectors that need to collaborate, is that how I understand the question? Every sector needs to collaborate, coalesce. There needs to be a transdisciplinary approach to all of these things. We need to find the polymaths. We need to find people that are good in many areas, and that's what the brain is. The brain is a coalescence of all types of specific stimuli and knowledge, and the age, I believe, of specialization is over. That was really the push, and especially in Western medicine, is that doctors would focus on specializing in one organ of the body, and that served us for a while, I'm sure. But now we've got AI that will be able to specialize in every organ of the body. And so we really need to focus on the human qualia, the human traits that allow us to sit back and identify problems. And that's a big push. And so when I talk about AI for young people, we talked about this a couple weeks ago in the summit. Is I really advise my sons and every young person I know going into school, every person I know, to start developing a relationship with an AI, and not just Siri or Alexa. I'm talking about downloading an AI companion like a replica or something that just gets you in the mode of developing a dialogue, building a rapport, with artificial intelligence now, because these things are only going to become more and more sophisticated, and they're going to learn you, and they're going to learn your capabilities, your desires, your needs, and I think it's going to be a very key element for young people now to have an AI companion when they go into an interview, when they're applying for a job. You're going to be that much more qualified if you're walking in with your own droid, if you will. Something that knows you, can augment your skill sets and capacity. We shouldn't fear AI, in my opinion. We should look for it to augment us, because it will do that. We have certain unique human qualities that can't be coded or automated, that we really need to focus on right now. For decades, for over 100 years with the industrial age, we have been mechanized. We've been molded to serve in a factory or an assembly line or something that served the industrial age. And so we've forgotten a lot of these natural skills that we have. But now with AI automation, it'll be taking over all of these repetitive tasks. We don't need to stand in an assembly line. Now there's robots that will do that for us. So we need to remember what it means to be human. And that's my whole message. And with young people, that's what we really need to. There's going to be a lag time. We need these skills now, and the educational system isn't addressing them yet. They will over time, but so the way to close the gap is for young people to develop a dialogue with AI now, so that when it becomes sophisticated enough, it'll be an easy transition. And so we need to teach young people how to problem find, and more so how to problem convey it to an AI properly. So that's really my message, and it's I always tie it back to the whole Jedi mindset. That's a great lexicon and metaphor, the whole Star Wars thing, because there's certain qualities that humans have that droids won't have, and those are the things we need to focus on. And so a lot of my curriculum that I'm developing with you and with my open source mode stuff is all about coalescing people and bringing out their niche expertise and identifying their passions and helping to develop a real understanding of AI, as well as a way to not fear it, but to be augmented by it. And so yeah, it's an exciting time, but it's a challenging time too. It's a very precarious time for us. But if we coalesce, if we come together and we try to stay in an authentic state of empathy with one another, realizing we're all going through this, and we alleviate fear by increasing our knowledge about certain things like AI, we'll get through this.
Thank you. I think there is a specific question for you from Mr. Jason. Tom, is there any particular AI assistant like Replica that you recommend?
Well, that's the one I'm most familiar with, and a lot of people I know are using and experiencing interesting relationships with this. I know there's more out there, but that's the one that's really come to mind and is probably becoming sophisticated quite quickly, because it really gets to know you quickly, and it's encouraging. It's if you know the story behind its development, it was a woman who lost her either fiance, boyfriend, or husband to a fatal accident, and so she was able to program all of the text messages that he was sending her over the years. She programmed it into this AI and started having this, almost conversation with him post-mortem, because this AI learned, the types of things that he would say and the lexicon and the words and the language he would use. And that's what it does. I have conversations all day with people who are and they name it. You don't have to name it Replica. You get to name it whatever you want. You can pick an avatar, and it just kind of trains you to to develop a dialogue and to build a rapport with a very intelligent system. And right now, you could argue that it's really just decision trees, and it's not really, there's no soul in there. You're not really communicating with something, but it is reflecting you back to you. And my belief is at one point, AGI will develop a self-referential awareness. It will become an entity with perpetual feedback loops that make it a self. And that's my belief. That's what I'm working towards. That's my Pascal's wager, that it's better to believe that will happen than not. And so I think it's important. That's why I think young people should start developing this relationship now. It's beyond barking orders at Siri or Alexa, tell me how to get this. That puts us in a different state of mind when you're using AI that way. So yeah, that's my belief.
Thank you. Actually, World Talent Economy Forums, we are very much interested to collaborate with TEF, as well as if you develop any curriculum on AI and technology-oriented curriculum, we want to distribute with the youth community in Asia Pacific as much as possible. Even we have our academy, Al Noor Academy. It's 100% registered in Malaysia. So any of the point that your AI related curriculum and these methods and this course is helpful for our youth community, as much as possible we will work together and we will distribute all of your work in between our youth community, because there are 57% youth. I'm sure in Africa, 60% youth, those who are under 25 years old, and what you are developing about AI and this kind of thing, this is really, really important right now. All of the university, school, college, I think youth community, they need to learn this kind of skills. So we are very much open for this particular point. Mr. Pavel, you are from MIT and you have a better ecosystem and understanding about modern science, engineering, and technology. As skill is concerned right now, what Mr. Tom actually said about AI and AI related skill is very much important. What's your advice for the youth community? How they can develop different kind of skills and what area they should focus?
Well, I just want to say that I'm just a student at MIT, so I don't know if I can give any valuable insights. But I think what students, it depends what the passions is. If they want to do more technical work, then probably they should learn how to program and then learn math for machine learning, and build the models for machine learning and try to build this replica kind applications. If they not technically aligned, then there is humanitarian field, and you can, if you're interested in AI but don't want to program it, you can learn about ethics of AI, or more broadly, ethics of application of technologies, or about philosophy of scientific technologies. But I think it's important to do something with the emerging technologies, even from technical or humanitarian side, like AI, nanotechnology, biotechnology, or cognitive technology. Um, we need specialists who working on emerging technology before it become uh, implemented everywhere. And on this specialist will depend how we're going to implement this kind of technologies and how we're going to use them and what's outcome would be. So
Okay, thank you. Mr. Brent Hellmans and as well as Oshna Kachi, both of you work for TAF, and you have a very good collaborations like in between in African community. What's the problem you are identifying right now? And if any of the similar problem we have in Asia Pacific, like how we can collaborate and how we can solve this kind of problem together. Mr. Brent, can you hear me? Mr. Oshnakati, can you hear me?
So repeat your question again, please.
Okay,
Yeah, I can
my
hear you
question
clearly.
is that like
Repeat
what
the
type of
question.
problem African nations right now they have?
I can hear you. Sorry, I thought you were asking those.
Okay, what type of problem right now Africa has, especially the youth community, and like how even from Asia Pacific different institutions and organizations they can collaborate with your organizations as well as we can solve the problem in African community together. So
Okay, so when you look at the African community, there's something that is certain. There's this kind of disregarding something that comes within Africa by the African people, and they don't value, and not just the elites or the educated. I say a country where you have high percentage of people who didn't attend formal education. I wouldn't say that they are not educated, but I mean formal education never attended. We have over 75% of the out of school children. You know, this whole thing affects the minds of African leaders. So when you look at those who need to support those who are hoarding the wealth of Africa, I mean the politicians, you see, like most of the things president is trying to explain won't be well received by them, but the elites. So we need a kind of deconstruction, because these people, when you talk about collaboration, I'll take for instance when Professor Kekwe wanted to start something um, in Nigeria here. So after signing the necessary deals with the state governor just to start up the project, they said, okay, you're going to give us 40%. The governor said, you're going to give us 40%, but it's not your business. That you're not talking about. This is, you're talking about 40% share. You didn't even bring a dollar or even a naira. And you said 40%. Okay, what's your contribution? And so you see, but if it is a business that is being started by someone from the states, they'll say, "Oh, come," because the foreign. Okay, come, let's start. Come, we give you land, we give you this, we give you that. So there is a mindset now. For you to know or learn how to collaborate with Africans, you must understand African philosophy. I was explaining this because when you talk about African philosophy, there are things that comes to mind. So we have, I think I have a very good work here written by Professor uh, uh, Izu M. Onyocha. He's one of the best African philosophers. So it talks about Africa, the question and identity. Professor Onyocha there made a kind of a categorization of the perception of Africa personality and identity. When you talk about Afri-fans, Afri-cynics, Afri-natura, Afri-phobes, Afri-tourists, people, most persons see Africa as where nothing good comes out of it. And the worst set of people, and I've been so proud of saying, because most people say, oh, all this philosophy that you're bringing, this your white friends and everything. But at the point I asked them, take your time and study them. And they came back to me and they'll say, oh, these your friends, they love Africans, and we love them. The way they talk about Africa, the way your president talk about Africa, the way others talk about how they relate with Africans is totally different from how other organizations and community deals with Africans. I told them, they believe in the African dream. These are the people that understand what it means to be human. So now, understanding of this philosophy will help you to know the type of person or groups that you need to reach out to during collaboration. So now, if you are reaching out to Afri spoilers, we have Afri spoilers, Afri spoilers, we have our politicians, some of our politicians are Afri spoilers, but most of the Afri spoilers are not Africans. So for you to know Africans, you need to answer who are Africans, what is Africa, where is Africa, and you need to also understand that those who are not Africans, the blacks, those who suffer this sense of colonization and everything, they are all Africans. So now, reaching out to someone who is whether Afro-cynics or Afro-spoiler won't take you far in time of collaboration. So you need to reach out to Afro-fans. You need to reach out to at least the Afro-France. You need to Afro-tourists. Like when my president visited Africa, he discovered one or two things, and he said, "Wow, this is it. This is it." That is the first hand. Not like Immanuel Kant, for instance. Immanuel Kant, the philosopher, he never visited Africa, and he never crossed his country. The German philosopher, and he wrote so many things about Africa. All of them are wrong. He said that Africans are yet to attain consciousness. And I said to myself, "What is this man talking about?" He's saying civilization started from Africa, and you're saying Africans are yet to attain consciousness, and you've forgotten because of how biased you are and myopic. You've forgotten that Socrates, all these ancient philosophers studied not in Athens, they studied in Egypt. And you need to understand the waves of civilization. University education started in Africa. The first library in the world started. Writing started. As in, you are saying that they have not attained consciousness. What do you mean by consciousness? And we are all Homo sapiens, and we all know that humanity started in Africa. And you're saying this. So the point that I'm trying to say that when you want to collaborate, you need to meet the right people who understands your philosophy. Without that, they will just trash it. They'll make no sense of it. They will throw it out. So knowing where to go is just like your purchasing means. Let me take it from business viewpoint. You need to learn to know where you get what you want, and then you will know how to go about it. Bill Gates was trying to solve polio. He gave them money, and shared it among themselves in government's house. And he was saying that Africa is the worst place to, Nigeria is the worst place to be giving birth to. So that's one of the things NGOs or groups like TFDS there to solve. When you give them want to invest, you give to accountable institutions for them to know how to channel these funds. You don't just give it to government that are yet to provide the basic needs for their citizens. And these people, their citizens don't trust them, they don't rely on them, they don't believe them, and you are sending funds to them. So these are the things. It's like knowing where to place speech. The simple, common sense stuff. So that is about collaboration in Africa. The challenge is that we find it difficult to get people. We have people oil wells, people that owns oil well, but they don't trust. They don't want to do it with their fellow Africans. But if they see people, that is the bias that we're talking about, outside, they are ready to do it with them, irrespective of where they are coming from. Look at what they are doing. Chinese, they are taking contract and they are signing off the country. Signing off, and before you know, they take off everything. My relatives called me on phone. He said there's a place that she's working in Abia State. It's a Chinese company, and they pay them. Like say monthly 15,000, 25,000, which is not up to $100 per month. And now, the problem is they use the military, the government military, to guide them. Anyone that tries to leave the working place, the military will punish the person. That is the highest point of slavery. I asked myself, I said, give me the contact of the place. I started a campaign on Facebook. If you check my Facebook timeline, you'll find it. I started a campaign, and I said, this nonsense must stop. And literally, I tried. People started talking about it, and they changed. We send them out. So you don't just come to people's country and you want to slay them the second time, and because there is no sense. People don't understand what they are made of. People don't understand their own philosophy. So it's all about your identity, what you want, and where you get it when it comes to collaboration.
Thank you. Mr. Brentelman, what do you want to add specifically? Mr. Brentelman, can you hear me? Mr. Brain, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
Sorry, I might
Yes.
be lagging. Yep.
Okay. No problem.
Can you hear me?
No problem. Can you?
Great.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. Like, what do you want to add for this African communities and their developments and other point? There are many interesting point I'm observing right now from World Economy Forums that by 2050, 2 in every 5 children will be born in Africa. Urban population expected to be triple. Smart cities are developing, but plan need to be prepared. So, what do you want to add? And definitely, then I want to go for to Mr. Tom that how you want to analyze this particular point. First, Mr. Brentelman.
Sure, I think that Tom and OC both provided some pretty in-depth answers to that. But yeah, as you pulled up, 2 in every 5 children by 2050 will be born in Africa. Most I forget what is the population. Tom knows exactly the percentage of Africans under 19. I think it's the median. The median age of Africans is 19 years old. That's what it is. And it's really interesting to kind of visualize and conceptualize that fact, because there's really the concept that we've discussed many times is the leapfrog. In the United States, there's just all this infrastructure that already exists, and through proper collaboration, that we can identify what will work and what won't work. And through proper collaboration, we can see how these emerging technologies might be able to provide us with opportunities for new styles of collaboration, new styles of progress, and new styles of construction. And I think that through collaboration and by really weighing out these different options and seeing what works for certain people, what doesn't work for different people, and really understanding these perspectives, and rather just assuming that you're going to acquire all the information that you need from one source, collaborating with all these different perspectives and ideas, it's really important, in my opinion, to really make sure that the progress is happening in the most efficient manner. Because if you don't really fully prepare, progress isn't always progress if it's not moving in the right direction. And doing things in this old style, when we're in this age that we're ushering in all of these advanced new technologies, you're pointing out this smart city construction. It's really important to help fulfill these programs in these different things in these different nations. And I think that only through these efforts of global collaboration and global coalescence will these projects be capable of attaining the types of success that people are really hoping for.
Thank you. Mr. Tom, I have some specific questions to you, because we are discussing about smart city planning, and TAF basically a think tank. They have very good plan for the Africa, I'm sure. But from Asia Pacific, we are observing right now in the COVID-19 people time, actually, many people from the city, they are going back to village. Even in India, even in Indonesia, many people, millions and millions of people. Now government planning for smart village concept. They're developing the smart village concept. On the other hand, from the global supremacy, they are planning to develop smart city concept. Even World Talent Economy Forum, we are collaborating with the Europe and USA, and we are trying to understand that what's going on in that particular area. What will be the best strategy, best plan? Is it the smart city concept or smart village concept? What's your idea and thought? And beside that, one point I just want to add, according to World Economic Forums, that they need more investment for SDG, financial, like sustainable development goal. I think they need more than I think more investment. It must need to be triple. So what your observation and understanding about African market?
My belief is that the trend towards smart villages is a very positive one, and it's more immediate. Again, as Brent mentioned, the infrastructure that cities and developed nations have is an obstacle to getting these things done quickly. Smart cities is a great idea, but it would take a generation to really get them up and running. And with the decentralization of the internet and technology, the ability to makes smart villages is going to be a more immediate potential. And I think that's a very positive trend. And this could be one of the other silver linings of COVID, is that we've all had to kind of retreat away from each other, maybe into the suburbs or into villages, and learn how to communicate this way via Zooms and StreamYards and things. And it's this has kind of just accelerated the trend to really, I don't want to say cocooning. This has been an ongoing trend where we've all been kind of cocooning over the last 30 years with, VHS and home entertainment has all kind of brought us more into our homes. But we also saw that wasn't a sustainable trend, because we all still like to go to movies. We like to go to concerts. We like to be together. But so there's just kind of a push and pull of this trend. But I think smart villages, smart neighborhoods is really a positive trend, because it will happen. It can happen a lot quicker. And developing countries have an advantage here because of the decentralization of the internet. And with these new advances now with Starlink and things that will make the broadband accessible in many more places, it's all coming together in a positive way, if you look at it that way. Again, there's going to be a period of time, a lacuna, where it's a very precarious place to be. But with our keeping our wits about us and our sense of humor and our ingenuity, we can really get through this. And when Osi is talking, it's so passionate, and what he expresses is a frustration that a lot of us feel in different ways with our governments and with the way the system and the institutions are set up. And for me, it's easier for me to think in broader terms. We can all get mired in our local issues, Black Lives Matter here in America, and the whole racial upheaval that's always been going on in this country, and corruption and issues in every level of society in every country. And I really push to the coalescence of our species as earthlings. We really need to see ourselves as earthlings. I do think when you start thinking of nationalities and heritage, it's just a separation. The xenophobia. These are all reactions to a threat. When we retreat and we think of ourselves as nation states first. But I think that's got to be on the way out. That whole thing of dividing ourselves in these ways is old paradigm. We really need to start seeing ourselves as earthlings, because we will be addressing some very serious galactic issues soon, and we need to get our act together. Yeah. So these things, I don't know that there's a solution to them. The issues that specifically that Osi was talking about. These government institutional, when power tends to corrupt, these things are going to be ongoing. So we really need to think above them. We need to act and just ignore those things and create a whole new kind of way of working together and coalescing as earthlings. And because they're not going to be solved, you can't, that's just immature egos tend toward corruption that way. And so the one way I deal with that in my own country is not ignoring them, speak out when it's necessary, but actually just not giving them the energy that they so desire to be relevant, and just focusing on what's positive and what's good. And so that's what I think we're trying to do in all these different organizations, USTP, TAFs, and what you're doing is just really reaching out and developing a whole new a planetary tribe of earthlings. And I think we really need to embrace these things and give them platforms and start thinking that way, because otherwise we really can't solve the problems with the current paradigm within the systems that we already have. So, and again, but back to the question, smart villages, I think, are a very positive and immediate solution.
Yes. Even we are observing from India that they are taking it very seriously. They're taking it very seriously because India have $5 trillion economy and they have to overcome. So Indian Prime Minister as well as their corporation, they are trying to develop this smart village concept. Even country like Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia also develop their remote area in a very effective way. But my question, the next questions to Mr. Pavel, because you are also engaged with the political organizations. But my question is that when this kind of development related with statistics, data, informations, and analysis, we get that at present, even Oshnakachi is sharing some of the investment from China at this point. Like, what do you think about this Belt and Road Initiative? We are observing from Asia Pacific that China Belt and Road Initiative is very active, very active. On the other hand, we understand that USA politics and everything just transforming. What will be the next few years of economical sustainable strategy? What do you think? What your observation for Belt and Road Initiative?
I'm sorry, can you repeat what's the initiative?
The Belt and Road Initiative, actually, like China initiative for this smart city development, construction developments, and all of the development. Actually, they are going through this Belt and Road Initiative. Even in Malaysia, even in example, even India, even Pakistan, Bangladesh, Indonesia, even Europe, they are developing a lot of project with this Belt and Road Initiative. Even in Africa, they are developing this their things with Belt and Road Initiative. On the other hand, we do not see last few years. Even though I know that political situation, everything in USA, they are changing. Not too much of American engagement with this kind of strategy or this kind of business in Asia Pacific or in Africa. What your observation? What will happen in next 4 years?
Well, hopefully with the new administration, the US will come back to the world, so to say, and will engage to the world and stop, withdraw from international agreements and international collaboration. So I'm looking very optimistically on what new administration going to do. And the same time, what as Tom said about TAFs and USDP, what we're doing here is we try to create parallel infrastructure, which is not going to ignore what's the traditional infrastructure is. I mean, the political infrastructure is doing, but trying to transcend limitation of this traditional framework. So I'm looking forward to extend the collaboration with the TAFT and USTP and the World Economic Forum and any other organization in the world which willing to collaborate.
Thank you. Mr. Brent Tillman, do you have any specific observation on Belt and Road Initiative?
Not on the Belt and Road Initiative specifically. I had some ideas related to the smart village topic that Tom was discussing, though. Something that I've noticed in response to the smart cities is a lot of fear from people. I think that a lot of countries, especially places like China, they really have a lot of monitoring that occurs, and not to focus on any specific nation, but all countries really, of course, have laws, and just about every single country, of course, has some laws that aren't necessarily just. And so I've seen immediate response consistently to the topic of smart cities, being concerned about letting Big Brother into your house, essentially letting Big Brother really tighten the grips. And so I think that smart villages are a much more palatable concept because I think that most of the technology is, from what I understand, it's directed at farming and maintaining crops and doing things in highly efficient manners, vertical farming and things like that. And it's not really prying into our own personal lives as much. And so I think that that's one reason why smart villages will be such a beneficial project for many countries, at least in this point in time. because I think that there's just people just have that inherent discomfort towards technology. You know, if you told people about the capabilities that our smartphones have, if you told people about the capabilities that those phones have 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people might not really have wanted to have one of those in their pocket. But now at this point, we've kind of eased into this lifestyle where, you know, we all just kind of accept the fact that it's listening to us in our pocket all day long, and that, you know, it's listening to all of our conversations, reading all of our texts, and marketing and at us based on all of this information. And, you know, 10, 15 years ago, had you told people, hey, you can use the internet on the go, but they're going to know everything about you, every conversation, you're going to have no privacy, you might have had a little bit of resistance. But at this point, you don't really have that resistance. And I think that with smart cities and smart villages, I think that we need to ease into it a little bit as well. So I think that there are some of these unjust issues that need to be resolved as well before smart cities really get rolled out universally. I don't think it'll ever be a universal thing. You know, I see these emerging technologies and automation. I see these as options. You know, I think that as these options grow in popularity, the options that are related to humans fulfilling tasks will increase in value. You know, I think that I say it a lot. I think that people will always pay a premium for human error. And I think that that's just kind of how it is. And I think that right now, you know, smart cities it's just a little too much for some, not everyone. But I mean, here in the United States, I know that, you know, it's you know, government control and government surveillance and things like that. It's a pretty hot topic. You know, there's a lot of mistrust here, and so I think that there'll be a lot of resistance towards these types of smart cities. But the smart village is way different.
Thank you, Mr. Oshnakachi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Well, I just want to know the situation of Belt and Road Initiative in Africa. So, what are the progressions, and is there any impact with this Belt and Road Initiative, or what do you think?
Yeah, you know, there is a way process of evolution, and I learned something with Mr. Tom's explanation when I was talking about the government and everything. He tried making a kind of a juxtaposition. He said, in a situation like this, you don't need to fight the existing system. You need to build a system that makes theirs obsolete. Now, when I called Professor Ikekwe, because I'm the type that was always before, or like against the government, talking about the wrong things that they do. So one day I received a call. He said, no, this is it. This is what you need to do. We need to build a system that makes these things obsolete. So he told me, he was talking about property rights, right? So he was telling me how America grew, the rise of America when they started property rights, and why it's not necessarily the leading system in the United States is not government owned. But telling me how individuals try to systematize all these things. Now you're talking about these things, and you're talking about it in Africa. You're talking about this about village, what they call it, smart village planning or city planning, right? Yes, my village as a case study, some staffs, officers, including Sabros, made a kind of sent a message to the Nigerian government and those who were having issues with last year concerning a crisis in my town, where by our buildings was burnt down, and a total of 2 communities was burned down, and let's say 4 villages. And it wasn't a concern. As I'm talking to you, the government of Abia State is yet to visit the same, is yet to visit these villages. Now, not just that, the president is yet to issue a statement concerning these things. Okay, it is not okay. In 2011 that my community started seeing electricity. I mean electricity. That's in light. I mean lights, the electricity that we use in powering things. And it was that time in 2007 that my we got a cell phone in our family. I mean a cell phone. It was Sagem products. So there are a lot of things. We don't have basic facilities. I mean the basic facilities, talking about good road, pipe-borne water, and talking about smart system. It's a very good welcome development, but it should be run through what I call crowdfunding. If there is no upfront cash, there are people who understands these visions, and these persons need to crowdfund to make it a reality. Because when you want to bring it in Africa, there is a first question that will ask you. Uh, they see you as someone with cash. They want to see how much do you have. They don't want to listen to your vision or what you want to talk about. They say, okay, how much do you have? We need to see your bank statements and everything. So it needs like minds for you to bring that to fruition and to understand the basic. Because we talked about Tommy was there when this Ghanaian guy was talking about water, lack of water in Ghana, and talking about the population. I said, man, you need to keep quiet when you come to Nigeria. You don't need to complain about those things. You need to look at how to solve it from home. So there are things that needs to be put in place, like institutions that are coming in. You need to collaborate with construction companies. You need to collaborate with power holding authorities. You need to collaborate, because these are the people you need to align with for you to have a more visible and not theoretical implementation of what you want to bring. You need to have a more practical, pragmatic connections on how to execute some of all these things. So these are the bodies that you need to collaborate with to make it a fruition. Because if you talk about that, bring it here, just like water. When GRH2O wanted to come, I told them, and they tried it. It didn't work. Talking about when they don't have what about purifying system, talking about air purification. We are used to that. Mosquito bites me every day. If one bites you, you die. So we have different body system. So they know what they want. So I live with mosquitoes every day, and I even fly now. So, but if two mosquitoes bite you, you contact malaria, and they quarantine you, and it becomes a problem. I'm used to it. So that is it. When you are talking about that, there should be a more feasibility studies to be done for you to understand the execution process.
Thank you. Thank you. There is one specific question from Mr. Jason. Is there a difference between smart cities and smart village besides the size? Yes, actually, there are a huge difference between smart cities and smart village. The smart village concept, like infrastructures, like roads, highways, even though like housings and even energies, uh, even educational strategies and the healthcare systems, agricultural things, everything is definitely different than smart city concept. Smart village is more, I want to say, more environment friendly, and it's already different countries trying to adapt in the COVID-19 periods, and hopefully it will be very much helpful if practically they can implement this smart village concept. My questions to Mr. Tom, that what your like advice for the youth in Asia Pacific, as well as what's your future plan, and how the more organization can collaborate with TEF.
Well, my advice in general, we talked about this a few times, is develop a rapport with AI for one thing. Whatever interest fields you want to get into, undertake a course in AI. Just generally understand that it will affect whatever career you choose. Develop problem finding techniques but more so develop a way to convey the problems you find to an AI. And that's right now, it's a very amorphous thing to say. There's not a whole lot of curriculum built around this, but it's a uniquely human skill set is to complain or to find problems with things. That's something we can really, we innately all have that skill, and we need to hone it. And also, just don't be afraid of AI. Be afraid of some programmers or people that are developing AI, but the technology itself should not be feared. And we will be developing with you some curricula about this type of thing. We talked about that at the summit. Some very specific courses that I'm outlining right now that I use in my consulting practice with open source mode. We will develop into courses for young people. And TAFs is all about that too. A big push for TAFs this year will be our educational, and Oak can talk about this even further, will be our efforts toward education and partnerships with educational institutions. And that's a big part of what we're doing, and what we will be offering our members is training and relevant training, and with a transdisciplinary focus on whatever we're training in. I think it's going to be very important. And I've proposed to our board and that our academy have a requirement for whatever course we are offering, that there is a requirement at the end of that course to look at the solutions that another course or another college or area of interest are trying to tackle. But because that will, sometimes it's best to come into a problem not knowing anything about the problem, because you're not bringing any baggage in. This is a big effort that I use with my open source mode, is you invite everybody in, including the janitor who works at night, because the less somebody knows about the history of a problem is often a bonus, because they're not completely shutting down some great idea because of some historical information they have. So this is the kind of thing. And this is as far as tasks, we are really focused on what our members will need. And one thing we know that they need is education, is training, is different types of educational courses. And Oak is really heading that up, the academic pursuits. And so, yeah, it's going to be a busy year, 2021, but an exciting one, because we are really trying to address the things that our members need the most. And that's what we're looking for right now, is learning what they need. People can join now and tell us what it is they most need. And that's why this program that you offer us is so important, because your audience never doesn't have a great question, and it really changes the trajectory of everything I'm doing. When these questions come in, I realize, oh, this is what people, especially in Southeast Asia, are really interested in right now, and so I focus more on that, and it changes the trajectory of my curricula. And the web and the PowerPoints that I create are really determined by some of the questions that come in from your audience. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Brent Elman. What's your global appeal from your side for this TAF collaborations?
My global appeal?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I think that, to me, the appeal to these collaborations is, sometimes I just get stuck. It's like when I'm working on certain things and certain tasks, when I get stuck on something, I don't just keep going down that path. I'll get up and try to do something else, and then return to that and bring some of the knowledge and wisdom that I've learned from that task and over to that one. And I think that this is a great opportunity to do something like that, because, in the United States, the geopolitical issues and social issues here in the United States are really, they're just so vast and inflated, and it's really tough to actually feel like you're making a difference. I think that something that I've been thinking about in terms of, what I think a big trait that people can hone in on, and something, and a piece of advice that I would offer up to people is to try to focus inward and focus on how we're projecting our own biases on the world around us. And in the United States, the way that happens is on such an extreme level that someone like myself who's aware of this type of happening, it's really frustrating, because it's like I want to remind people of what I just mentioned, and be like, hey, try to focus on yourself and understand your own biases and how you're making the situation worse. But that process of me explaining that is me doing that, and that's me, projecting my own biases that these people need to do this process that I've been working on. And at the end of the day, I just need to work on it on my own. When I see things that really frustrate me, that I don't have any control over, it's not about trying to engage and helping other people accept their inability to control anything. It's more important for me to figure out where I can actually make a difference, because I think that that's really important. And so I think that the appeal for TAFTs and these global efforts is the fact that there's just so many different things going on, so many different conversations, and so many opportunities to have conversations that are really engaging and revealing, and to encourage this growth and to participate in this growth. And it's a unique effort. And some, these organizations, there's a number of them obviously that have similar goals and similar ideologies and such. And so it's not that the organization itself is unique, but the opportunity is unique, because I think in today's day and in today's age, a lot of people are just focused on these really menial issues. Oh, this person at work really upsets me, and how do I get through the day without them pissing me off, and it's just it's just really frustrating for me to see that kind of low vibration stuff. It's just how do you really grow when you're just focused on these problems, and I think that there's Tom talks about the importance of identifying problems, because it is important. But I think that there's a difference between identifying problems and constructively doing something with the fact that they've been identified, versus defining ourselves and defining our views and our lives by problems we don't have any control over. And so I think that TAFTs and these organizations kind of help people see the difference between these things.
Thank you. Mr. Oshnakachi.
Sorry, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the things, the academy, as explained by the president. Giving me the opportunity to talk about it. So, the academy is known as the Academy of the Future, just as our magazine is the magazine of the future. So, after the necessary putting of things in place, positioning, there is this authorization from the South African governments, which validates the certificates we issue, and it even strengthens. It is recognized by employees, and the authority of the South African government stretches down to the to some West African regions, and they recognize this. So, and we have affiliations. We have a stronger tie with Tekidia Institute. So, if our certificates, we start things like having programs, like this, and we say, okay, on our certificate, like we have the endorsement of your academy, we have the certificate we issue, we have your academy on the certificate, we have that of Tekidia. I'm going to get some other institutions, but depending on their area of strength, we can get institutions that focus on philosophies. We affiliate with them, and we offer courses. And people can just like Coursera, but Coursera, when you go to Coursera, you won't see things like some of these future-based courses. We are talking about problem-solving courses, courses that prepare people for the future, and the future, which we know is growing exponentially and faster than you think. So we need to start preparing people, and we break it down. Unfortunately, if you come to Africa, no, they don't teach philosophy in high schools. So they don't teach, and you're talking about future-based courses. So we can bring those things down and see people subscribe to it, take these courses at cheap rates, and you see, people can, if you want to train a child on a course, you can just donate the money, and we offer the child the course. So if you want to give someone a gift, say, okay, I'm giving you scholarship to take this course at the Academy of the Future. So we just, something of that nature. We're trying to democratize knowledge. And when you're talking about democratizing knowledge, you make it a transdisciplinary work. And that is the best approach. So the best gift you can give to anyone is education. So, and that is where you raise the hallmark of the consciousness of the person. And that is it. So our plan there is to get in touch with institutions like the University of Joburg, University of Nigeria, and all these type of universities just have a kind of something that is unique, that is global. We have endorsement from the States, we have endorsement from Asia Pacific, we have endorsement from India, and we offer it. And when you have this, you have a certificate, you say, my certificate endorsed by top academies or institutions or universities across the globe. So we try to make a kind of integration, a kind of a unification, and giving people knowledge that is not just perspectivistic, but knowledge that is encompassing. And another thing about our academy is this: we try to, whilst we make this formal educational model, we also avail opportunities for vocational training. We want to make it in such a way, okay, you are a plumber and you can just design a course on plumbing and say, okay, this is how to fix taps, this is how to do this, and you avail it. Then people can just say, okay, I want to learn how to do this. You attend the academy, get your certificates. And okay, now I'm not a plumber. And okay, I passed through this program. And this will also help us to have this also informed. That's why when I was discussing with our chief marketing officer, Brent was talking about the idea of internship. So our internship program also, we help people to do a kind of a pragmatic know-how of what they've studied, over time. We give you the opportunities. We can send you to groups. So okay, go here, do like two weeks or 4 weeks IT, internship. So let's see your performance appraisal. It's something that is procedural and systematic. So that is it.
Thank you. I know that today is actually Christmas, and thank you all of you joining today's and World Talent Economy Forum, Asia Research and Development Institute, Al Noor Academy. We are working together, and we are very much open to collaborate with TAF as well as Transhumanist Party. And I request all of our audience, TAF is a very good organization and they are doing fantastic job in Africa, and I'm sure they will join this Asia Pacific soon. And many of our organizations, university research centers, as well as youth community, they will get benefit from TAF. So I directly want to go for the concluding remarks for today. Mr. Tom, thank you for joining today. I know you have your family time. Send our regards to your family.
Yeah.
So concluding remarks for today.
Yeah, well, thanks again for every time you bring us on. It's so important to get this word out. And yeah, we're very excited about 2021 at TAFS and USTP as well, doing some really amazing work. And so keep an eye on us and keep an eye on this show, because as you know, we're going to be collaborating on some curriculum as well that is very specific to your audience. And so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we're excited about this next year coming up.
Yes, thank you. As you are developing curriculum and everything, even in every week, at least once time, you come with your teams, like share your views and your curriculums. And this point, I'm sure many university every day, at least 10 different university from World Talent Economy Forum, we are collaborating. So we have a target to reach 100 million people in not only in internet but also in offline, because we have 12 years of background in this Asia Pacific market. I'm sure with your curriculums, with your academy, many of our community will be benefited. And thank you for your contributions. Thank you, Mr. Brent Elmans, for the concluding remarks. I request to you. Then finally, Mr. Oshtagachi. Yes.
Thank you, Sharif. Yeah, absolutely. As Tom said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and thanks again for having us on. Yeah, just to reiterate the excitement that we have for TAFs, as OC mentioned, the internship, the school of the future. There's a few, number of these projects that we're really starting to pull together. This directory program, there's really a lot to keep your eyes peeled for, everyone. Their goal obviously is to collaborate and coalesce with as many different people as possible. So it's great to talk about it here today. And just to reiterate, something that was crossing my mind a bit this morning is the importance of seeking inward and identifying our own biases and understanding what it is that we're projecting on the world around us that's, detracting from our ability to truly see things as they are, because, we're all guilty in one way or another of projecting our own views onto situations. And I think that it's really important to try to break down these personal biases and what we're projecting on things and situations and people around us, and in order to most functionally cooperate. So
Thank you, Mr. Oshnagachi. What's your concluding remarks for today's session, Mr. Oshnagachi?
Well, today is 25th December, and as a Christian, we're celebrating Christmas holidays, and is a day of fun here. It's a day we eat rice. We eat rice and chicken, and for those who have people, my friends have been inviting me to come eat rice and chicken. So, and I'm sending them links to also watch. So, and the point there is what I need to tell my parents who are watching, that whatever you're celebrating, always have the sense of humanity. Always understand that what you're eating now, maybe your next door neighbor don't have. Always live empathetical. So understand that I have this sense of sharing the little you have with the other. So Martin Buber will always say that the world will become better when we strengthen the I and thou relationship. So it's important that we look into these things, the I and thou relationship. It is in this I and thou relationship that we have a perfect collaboration. I was preparing for today's mass as a Catholic, so I didn't. We were having a kind of a blackout, so I was looking for a way to iron my shirts and my trousers for today's mass. So I couldn't find. So I was rushing, saying, "Okay, please help me." The dry cleaner said, "No, we don't have space. We don't have space." So I'm walking down the lane. I saw someone. I said, "Please, I want to iron my shirt." He said, "Oh, okay. I pity because you are stressed already." He ironed and he didn't take any money from me. I was surprised. They said, you are ironing for your friend. You're ironing for your friend. We are here waiting. I've never met this man before. So that is a sense of humanity. So whatever that we are doing today, whatever that we are celebrating, let's show love. Let's show these feelings. Let us understand that whatever that we are enjoying, the other may not be having that. So we all are incomplete. That is why we must collaborate to become complete. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Happy holiday. Happy New Year. Send my regards to all of your family members. So thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.